So I was at this game, and this is the debut of this is the debut of so I was at this game, and this is the debut of the new look Spurs with the addition of De'Aaron Fox, and I got to tell you, man, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of this team. Starting out with Wimby, I was like, okay, they got some time. They got to build on top. But they've managed to build a very, very competitive team within the last 6 months. That division is pretty tough with the Memphis Grizzlies, Houston Rockets, Dallas Mavericks, New Orleans Pelicans, who are having a rough year, but that's due to injuries. It's a tough division, and I think they've solidified themselves in this division as a threat, a future threat. Some say, like with them at 22 and 28, that they could win this year, or they could get to the playoffs this year. I'm not quite sure on that. I've seen crazier things, as we all have in the last 3 days, but I do like the way this team is built as of now. Stephon Castle, super athletic. De'Aaron Fox, obviously super athletic. Wimby, if athletic is the word, I mean, it's freak of nature. He has step backs that I don't think I've seen or I have in my bag, and I'm 6'3", and he has step backs and shot creation. Oof. Can't wait to see that guy in the All-Star. In the dunk contest, it's insane. They got off to an early lead. It was pretty rough in the first half. They were gelling immediately. De'Aaron Fox came in like he'd already been there. He'd been there for years. He's improved the team in terms of ball movement, in terms of execution, in terms of attacking ability. Sometimes they struggled with getting a bucket, San Antonio Spurs, and De'Aaron Fox is not shy at all of getting a bucket. With the Atlanta Hawks, I think being my team and watching a rebuild happen in 6 months, it's something that we've been trying to do in 6 years. I think this is our third rebuild after getting rid of Dejounte Murray. I think that, once you come to terms with Trae Young being Trae Young, everyone wants to think about, this is how I would play if I was Trae Young. You're not. Like, the guy is a basketball savant. I mean, he takes shots that you wouldn't think of taking because he sees things you don't see. And once you get over the fact that, like, hey, this is the decision that we made. Oh, we could have DeJounte, this, blah, blah, blah. We don't. So we have to trust that he's making the right decision. And when he's comfortable on the floor, you want him in that flow state where he's not overthinking, because he is a highly intelligent, cerebral player. So if he's overthinking it, then he's outside of himself. So you kind of have to live and die with, like, the flash and the party tricks and those nature, because it makes him comfortable. It's him assessing the floor. It's him checking out the vision, or checking out the vision. It's him checking out the opponent, just kind of seeing what he can get away with, what works, what doesn't work, and that comes with some trial and error. And the numbers match up, and that's one thing I'll say. I've been in that arena for 15 years. I've seen majority of Trey's games. I've been a Hawks fan my entire life, and I'm going to tell you that his numbers match his game. I mean, you can say how he got there was crazy, or he's doing all these manipulative things. At the end of the day, you're looking up at that stat line, and he's got 30 and 11, or 30 and 12. He is the best point guard in the Southeast Division. Now, we can get it. Oof, can't wait to see that guy go crazy. Now, we could talk about LaMelo. We could talk about Tyler Hero. I'd rather not. I think that Trae Young is this is the year that he should feel slighted. He should feel snubbed, because I believe that he was being the total assist leader again, leading the team, averaging 20, 25 points, 12 assists, leading this team, taking huge steps. He should have been, without a doubt, All-Star reserve, I think, over Tyler Hero and over LaMelo. I think LaMelo's having a fantastic season, and I think that next year is definitely his year for being selected. But I think this year was supposed to be a Trae Young year, to solidify the fact that this is his team, and to solidify the fact that he has improved, and to solidify the fact that he is leading this team. Now, with that being said, there are some really odd stats that I've been seeing in the last few games from the Hawks, and we've had a 7-game skid that we've lost 8 out of the last 9, and all those games are very consistent with this very interesting stat where we're usually winning the turnover battle. Like we're averaging around 11 or 12 assists game in that 7-game stretch. Even on rebounds, and the shooting is almost equivalent. The biggest issue, and this has been the biggest issue our entire year, because I couldn't figure this team out and why we weren't ready yet. It seems like we have the pieces, but what seems to happen is that we shoot 77% from the free throw line. Now, you don't have to be an NBA expert to know that, like, that's pretty bad. In fact, it's the 21st. The 21st in free throw percentage. So I don't think they're a bad shooting team, because we shoot 35, and as you can see, DeAndre Hunter's having a phenomenal year. But it does show a lack of consistency. Now, Dyson Daniels has a really great way of covering up a lot of our cracks and holes found in our offense and defense. But the difference between a good team and a great team is that they have someone that can knock down 2 free throws. And that seems like something that would be easy to find. And we might have it with Bogey, but when it comes down to it, the leader of our team is Trae Young. The person that's probably going to be at line trying to close out the game is Trae Young. And Trae Young will leave a couple Trae Young will leave a couple on the free throw line. I think today we were 72%, and this was a close game. Devin Vassell got real active. Like, I mean, people are forgetting about him. That's how good this Spurs team is. Devin Vassell's like, oh yeah, and they got Devin Vassell. It's insane what they've done. And that's also why I probably Pop stayed around. He's like, and they got rid of DeJounte Murray because they saw this 5-year plan come in and got it done in 6 months. It's incredible. So with that being said, I think that's the biggest issue. I think, and honestly, we call it a snub, and it is a snub. Trae Young improves on his free throws. It's not even close, because he's averaging 26, 27 points a game, and you can't ignore it. But the fact that he's leaving points on the line, the fact that he's that the team that he leads has trouble closing out games at 77% and trouble staying consistent. Krejcik is one of my favorites. I'm obviously a big fan of Krejcik. If we can get him on that page, but At the end of the day, as I was talking to an analyst about this, and former analyst, and he played, and he was like, well, like the fatigues tends to wear on you and the wear and tear, and it's like, that's whatever. We can say that, but that line doesn't move. And if we're going to make an excuse for him bearing the load, which is what he kind of wanted to do, Trae Young, then we have to have the discussion of, okay, is he the person to close out these free throws? Like, if we have a tech, is he the person to get the tech? I mean, are we doing this from an analytical standpoint? Are we doing this from the number standpoint? Or are we doing this from a leadership standpoint? Because we've already made the decision from a leader standpoint who we're rocking with. But if we have an issue with completing free throws, which is tough, and you can see here he knocked down 2, and I'm sure he knows. I'm sure that this is a stat that isn't lost upon a lot of people. But that's, at the end of the day, that's kind of what this team is sacrificing. Our free throws are super important to end the game. Now here's my biggest issue here. So, all right, let's look back at this for a second. Let's look back at this for a second, and you guys can tell me if I'm crazy or there needs to be something that okay. So let's look at this for a second, because this is the difference between a good team and a great team. I'm not sure what we're doing here, but I know for a fact this isn't the way it's supposed to be done. Now, granted, I don't know what goes on in that locker room. I'm just an observer. I'm a scout. I'm a trainer. I'm a coach. I'm a player development guy. Certified in all of those things. Now, coaching probably is my least interesting interest. Like, it's my least of the interest, right? I'm a big player development guy, big analyst guy, big scouting guy. Love writing those things. Now, you see one of the greats here. Has to be one of the greats in Popovich, coming up with one of the genius plays between three of the greats, right? So you got Chris Paul, Wembanyama, and De'Aaron Fox in a so you got De'Aaron Fox. Let's see here. Let's start over. Start over. Should start over. So this is where we have Chris Paul, De'Aaron Fox, and Wembanyama in a late game action here. Oh gosh. So we got Chris Paul. Let's look at this thing. Fox. Let's take a deep look at this bad boy. So this is the action, and we're talking about one of the greats in Greg Popovich, with three of the very, 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 very talented players in this league, with Chris Paul as Hall of Famer, Wembanyama future Hall of Famer, De'Aaron Fox, Hall of Famer, I would say. Might end up being a journeyman at the end of the year and end of his career, but it's no doubt that he has the talent to be one of the greats. And this is a great fit for him and a great fit for everyone involved. But I digress. This action and the end of this game has spoken speaks for the Hawks' entire season. We got a 3-man action between Wembanyama, Chris Paul, De'Aaron Fox, the three people that you think are going to get the ball in the game. You don't think Chris Paul's getting the ball in the game, but you do think between Wembanyama and De'Aaron Fox are getting the ball. Now, as we proceed in this, we see a high ball screen and then a slip, right? Great slip. So it's a slip screen, and you have to make a decision, right? You got to make a decision because De'Aaron Fox is so fucking fast, and Wembanyama is so long. You can probably recover on Wembanyama, but to be completely honest, once he gets to the paint, you're hoping to the gods that he shoots something. He doesn't just attack you. That's your only bet with a 7'6" dude. But with De'Aaron Fox, once he's past you, there's like no recovering because even the people that are in help can't get to him. So the slip screen gets us, and what you see there, let's just take that back a little bit. So screen, slip, drop, right? So we got who's I believe in this game he had 30 and 13, an amazing game. Probably starting off to be the replacement for Capella. It's probably starting to have that conversation, or it's probably time to have that conversation, right? Between if it's time to kind of move on from Capella. I think we offered him in a trade for Vucevic, which was turned down. But Big O is finally kind of giving me the confidence to accept that he should be, or he is the next up. I mean, I think there was a big issue with his rebounding. For some reason, he just couldn't scratch a double-double. I think he was more of a stretch kind of center situations, stretch big, and he was kind of designed to make up for what Capella lacks, which is a perimeter offensive scoring ability, and I think Double O has that. But you kind of needed both. It was a yin and yang situation because that 10.5, those 10.5 rebounds a game are important. We have a small point guard. We're playing point guard by committee with Dyson Daniels and Trae Young. Like Trae Young doesn't guard the other star point guard. It's Dyson Daniels' responsibility, which I would assume then by that we're playing point guard responsibility, and we're playing point guard with two people. So with that being said, and you delegate situations like that until I see otherwise, like that's just what we're doing. I don't necessarily believe that like we're better off with Dyson Daniels handling the defensive responsibilities, because I think he also needs to be able to score. I mean, he did today, and I think it is what it is. But to point out this play, they slip through, right? And he's there. So you got right there. He's got to make a play, but does he, right? Because what ends up happening is he meets him at the rim, which is clearly going to end with Wembanyama either finishing or getting fouls. He's so high, and with O's selling that, saying like, "Oh, I got ball," and I was in that arena, and I don't think anybody in that arena saw what he saw. I don't think anybody besides Quinn Snyder and him saw what he saw. I don't think anybody saw what he saw there. I just don't. Maybe I'm missing it. I could be missing it. Like, I don't think I am. I don't think I saw the same thing. Let's see again. Okay.
It's Fox.
So the slip screen.
By Daniels. Wemby slips in.
right? So I was
Guarded by
talking to somebody about
Daniels.
this, and
Wemby
what
slips in.
what if he lets him finish this? So in the previous play, we had the ball, or Trae Young had the ball with 38 seconds left, right? Got on the break, and there's an obvious 2-for-1 situation. I believe the game is tied, and we have a chance to, get 2 possessions out of it. Trae Young seems to have this ability to know that I'm doing the opposite of what most would do, and he's going down the paint. Has an easy, not easy, but he's a pretty standard Trae Young floaty or layup or tough finish. He just has to kick it out. We don't get a shot off at all, and this is fast forward to their possession. We're still tied, and what we see is that perfect player popper, like Drew with the slip, and you see. You see, you see,
Pops clutch. De'Aaron Fox. Wemby with the follow flush. It's Fox.
so you see this great play.
Guarded by Daniels.
Yeah, Mr. Right.
Wemby slips in.
Let's say we let him finish that. He's 7'6". He's in the paint. He's decided to be aggressive. It's like having a crazy girlfriend. It's like, yo, just let him do whatever he's gonna do so we can get back right. It doesn't make any sense necessarily to me to meet him at the rim, especially we have a timeout left. Double O's playing a crazy game. I think, like I said, he has 30 and 13. I think he hit his first 9 shots. Might not be the most common thing and the most accepted thing in the NBA because you're just a shot blocker. You're supposed to challenge everything. But if you let him go, and then we got 2.5 seconds left on the clock, and 3 3-point shooters on the floor, and 2 people can get a bucket off the dribble, I'm not seeing any wrong in that. I mean, it's a split decision. Everything's
Rejected at the rim, but a foul called.
But what I do know is that animation that O had, as if he had not fouled him, no one else in the arena felt that way. No one did. We were optimistic of it, but you can look at it. I mean, physics alone says that he fouled him. So I'm not sure what Quinn Snyder's idea was, because I think he felt there was a push off or something along those lines that could make this possibly it can invalidate this play. But invalidating this play is tougher than you think it is, because none of what happened says that the Hawks should even have the ball. There was a great switch. He stepped up. He made the play. But I heard some people talking about charge. Dude, you just let him have it. It's a 7'6" person that can play like a guard. Just let him have it, and then you go to, right? You foul them. We're at the line. You challenge it. We lose the timeout. I don't get so,
And he'll go to the free throw line with 2.4 to go.
But we challenge it. And we lose, obviously.
So the one thing is,
Second one coming up for Wembanyama.
And obviously,
Purposely misses, tries to catch the Hawks off guard. Young! A master stroke of brilliance by Victor
He
Wembanyama.
feels like he hasn't played in 2 weeks. Why do you say that?
I mean, the day the trade went down, didn't really do anything. Then we had to fly, do physicals, a bunch of that stuff. So I hadn't really done anything. And I had to run on a treadmill yesterday because we didn't know if I'd be ready.
Tell me this. Was everyone on the same page that Wemby was going to try to miss that last one?
Yeah, that's what we talked about. Well, we talked about it out here. CP walked up to me and asked me.
This was ran. This is probably one of the most unorganized and displaced late game situations I've seen from the Hawks in a while. I think we're on the same page usually. It's usually Trae Young making the play. But on the defensive end, like, what do we do here? Because if you can't hide him, and there's certain teams that you can't hide him. The Spurs being one of them, because they're such big guards, they're athletic, and they attack with discipline. It's hard to stand a chance with a honest and disciplined attack. However, I just think that you just let him go. That was our shot. It is what it is. But I will say that with De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, Wemby, and I'm missing one. Oh, and Devin Vassell. I think this team has successfully rebuilt. I think you just sit back and kind of watch and enjoy them, and they'll probably be on the fringe of the playoffs this year, but they'll definitely be the hot team next year. If you could tell how fast they got going in De'Aaron Fox's first game, it was almost like they had already been playing together for a while. And that type of chemistry is unmatched, and I think that it will come forth in the end.